ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Bathurst. Wessel Stevens, Nick Sorensen have the front row. Ellis Johnson and Adam Barker on the second row. Team Gunther, Yannick Gunther and Rudolph Gunther have the third row. Mike Marshall, Stuart Hare on the fourth row. Roman Berg and Zach Bache round out the top 10. Harry Volsmere, Riz Buckland, and Suleiman Khan did not qualify and start in the back. The first couple laps here, always exciting. Going up and down the mountain, anything can happen, especially if guys try to make that move. We'll see how calm the boys are in the early going of this one. Looks like some of the drivers are making some last-minute setup adjustments. All right, everybody is on the grid. The Porsche pace car fires up. And I think I saw some flashing lights in the field already trying to distract the drivers ahead. Wessel Stevens leads them out. And folks, feel free to tell us who you think's going to win this one or who your favorite paint job is. It is good to see Hello Kitty back on track this morning. All right, pace car drops in. Wessel can fire. He does. The green flag. And the green flag flies. Wessel got an amazing jump. Caught him sleeping. Ellis now to the inside for second on points leader Nick Sorensen. Guys trying to get anything they can as they make their way up the hill towards the mountain. Those three in line nose to tail. Sorensen tries to make the move to the inside, can't get there. Barker looks to the outside briefly, and he's got Team Gunther right on his bumper as Wessel is trying to run away. And here they come up the mountain where things get very tight. So far, everybody's kept them pointed the right way. Nobody has kissed the wall yet. Wessel trying to get that big gap open here early as he is the first one to head down the mountain. Some of these guys, as we mentioned in pre-race, did compete in the 12 hours of Bathurst on iRacing yesterday, and it sounded like the vast majority found chaos on the mountain that has to be on their mind again this morning. Some of the drivers and teams unable to finish because of that early chaos and carnage coming up and down the mountain. Ellis Johnson in second, pulling a bit of a gap on Sorensen, now in third, but Wessel Stevens will lead lap one. Wessel will lead a very clean lap one. Harry Volsmere on the move. Harry already up 4 spots into 7th. He opens the door. Zach has a problem at a turn 1. Zach gets turned around. It did look like he avoided the wall. Let's take a quick look. Stuart Hare also had an early problem. All right, there's Stuart coming toward the final couple of turns. Just overshot his braking point through the grass. No arm, no foul on that. Zach Beige battling into turn 1, tries to get to the inside on Stewart, but gets on the power and just snaps around, and Harry has had a problem. All right, there's Harry Bolsher coming up the mountain. And on the power a little too much, kisses the wall. That is a big setback. Harry had already picked up 4 spots. He was on a charge. Wessel's lead already 3 seconds over Ellis Johnson. Nick Sorensen in 3rd. Adam Barker in 4th. Yannick Gunther not far behind in 5th. Rudolph Gunther in 6th. Then a bit of a gap back to Stuart Hare in 7th. Roman Berg right there with him in 8th. And Adam Barker had a problem a moment ago. Looks like a brief off track, but a big setback. He is now back into 6th. Harry Volsmere, after his incident coming up the mountain last time by, has slipped back into 13th. But looks like minimal damage. It'll be interesting to see how much ground Harry can make up. We've seen him have problems early in the past and make up a lot of ground. Worth noting, at the line, 30.3 seconds behind the leader. Good morning, Mrs. Panda. How are you? This morning. Nick Sorensen, the points leader, in 3rd. Now is Yannick Gunther, Rudolph Gunther closing in. Adam Barker still right there in that group despite losing some ground last time through. Roman Berg still right on Stuart Hare's bumper. Riz Buckland and Suleiman Cohen, despite having no practice. Both drivers now up into 9th and 10th and trying to close the gap on Roman. Also worth noting, Riz is the only driver in a Mercedes this morning. Now, Harry has lost a little bit of ground to the leader. He's now 32 seconds behind, but he is gaining on everybody else at the moment. Wessel did just set the fastest lap so far last time by. Leader Nick Sorensen all over Ellis's back bumper at the moment. Ellis had put a gap between them for the first couple of laps, but Nick is on the attack. Team Gunther back in 4th and 5th have lost a little ground on the top 3. Adam Barker still within striking distance, though. Stuart Hare starting to open up some breathing room on Roman Berg at the moment. Suleiman Khan now moves up into ninth, putting the Mercedes of Riz Buckland back in 10th. Mike Marshall has slipped back into 11th. And Harry Volsmere on his way down the mountain, still on the attack. He is now just 6 seconds behind Zach Beige and closing. Wessel's lead now 6 seconds over Sorensen. Adam Barker has had a problem back behind. Riz Buckland has also had one. All right, there's Barker coming into the final turn. Looks like on the power out of that turn, he was loose coming in and just kisses the inside wall. It takes him a moment to get it gathered up. And Riz Buckland back behind. Looks like he went a little bit off track, and let's take a look. Looking down from the chopper. Yeah, he got a little too much of the rumble strips, then a little too wide there, and hard into the tire barrier. Wessel's lead continues to grow over Nick Sorensen. Yannick in third, Rudolph in fourth, Ellis in fifth. Rudolph Gunther has closed the gap on Nick Sorensen over the last couple of weeks, but at the moment, Sorensen in second, Rudolph in fourth. And with just 2 weeks left to go after today, well, Rudolph a bit wide out of the final turn. Next week, they'll be at the Nürburgring Grand Prix. And the final race of the season at Misano 2 weeks from today. Rudolph needs to crank it up if he wants a shot at this championship. Ellis Johnson is on pit road. That is unexpected. Ellis is on his way back out, but has dropped all the way to 11. And is now battling with Harry Volsmere. Side by side as they start their way up the mountain, it's going to be a game of chicken. Who bro they touch? Harry's into the wall. And Harry has towed it in. Let's take a look at that one again. See what we can see from the chopper. Harry there on the outside. As they go in, Harry cuts in. Just a wee bit of contact, but it sends Harry to the wall. A bit of a shocking one. Really expected to see Harry make one of his dramatic major comebacks. he has slipped way back. Hey, good morning, Zequacky. All right, let's see what happened with Rudolph. All right, there's Rudolph coming through the final turn, and too much of the rumble strip on the power spins it around. And tries to get it recovered, but loses multiple spots in the process. Did we just see the defining moment of the championship? Nick Sorensen, the points leader, currently in 6th. Rudolph has slipped back into 7th. As we mentioned, Rudolph has been gaining ground the last couple of weeks, since Nick had a catastrophically bad race at Monza. Hey, good morning, Jason. Ironically, a few of the guys were talking about that during pre-race. Wessel out front has led since the drop. Nick in 2nd, not gaining any ground. He's actually about 7.2 seconds back. Yannick in 3rd, Adam in 4th, and Roman in 5th. With Rudolph slipping back into 7th. Nick Sorensen came into the morning with a 72-point lead. He'll pick up another 7 points in race 1 as they currently run. Nick currently sits second on track, rather, first in points. But so far, Wessel Stevens has been the car to beat all morning long. It's interesting to note that out of the 8 laps they have run this morning, so far, Wessel has set the fastest lap on about 5 of them. Just keeps beating his fast lap. Track temperature still relatively cool at 86 degrees. Nick currently in 2nd. Yannick Gunther currently holds 3rd. Barker back in 4th. Roman Berg in 5th. Stuart Hare now in 6th. Rudolph Gunther slipped back into 7th. But how about Suleiman Cullen, who got no practice, did not turn a lap before the green. Already up 5 spots into 8th. Zach Bache in 9th, a great recovery so far. Ellis Johnson currently in 10th. And Harry Vaughn, we've got a Mustang around on the mountain. It's Zach Bay. She is taking it in. All right, there's Zach as he starts up the mountain on the power, just a little too much. And wow, what a close call back behind. Well, sounds like Riz Buckland, yeah, he almost got clipped there. Very close call. Sounds like Buckland is out. He'll be back for the endurance race. Wessel Stevens, his lead has continued to grow all morning long. Wessel on his final trip to the top of the mountain. Wessel on his final trip down the mountain this morning in race 1 has a 9.5 second lead over Nick Sorensen. Yannick currently in 3rd. Hello Kitty back on track in 4th. And here it comes toward the final turn. Wessel Stevens dominates race 1. He will win race 1 by 10.5 seconds at Mount Panorama. Points leader Nick Sorensen brings it home in 2nd, and Yannick Gunther comes home in 3rd. And I'm glad they helped Wessel celebrate appropriately. Whoa! Adam Barker sending people to the Shadow Realm. All right, race 2 coming up, but let's talk to our top 3, starting with Yannick. Yannick, congratulations. Another podium and a consistent season so far.
No, thank you, Doug. Thank you. Yeah, I got really lucky. My pace is not good enough for P3. I think, but if everybody else crashes, you just focus on not crashing and it works out.
Well, I'm sure you heard toward the end of that race, there was a forward sideways on the mountain. How much does, after seeing the iRacing 12 hours and last week's race here, I have to ask, how much does hearing a Ford turn sideways on the mountain scare you?
It does, but it's, it's expected. If a Ford is in the field, it will be sideways in the mountain at some point.
That is 100% true. Man, a great finish and a great start so far. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doug.
Yannick coming home in 3rd. Points leader Nick Sorensen comes home in 2nd. Nick, you come home in 2nd, but more importantly, you extend your points lead even further this morning.
Yeah, once seen Wessel putting down some pretty good laps there at the beginning, I just knew to keep it safe, finish this race, and make sure I get a good result.
I have to say, it got a little spicy behind you, but you managed to keep it pointed the right way the whole time, and didn't look like you really had any hiccups at all.
No, you could tell pushing a little bit, trying to push. Maybe the car gets a little squirrely, but nothing I can't keep under control. Hopefully we just get ourselves in a good spot next race where I can cruise. And it's so tricky at Bathurst. Being safe is the #1 priority.
Man, you got it done so far. Extend your points lead even further. Congratulations.
All right, thanks, Doug.
And our winner from race 1, Wessel Stevens. Wessel, congratulations. Man, a dominant run there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I, of course, had some practice by doing the 12 hours. Nick was also very quick, but just not quick enough.
Nobody was quick enough for you this morning, man. You kind of, you nailed him off the start, caught him sleeping, and just kept walking away.
Yeah, normally people go later, so I thought let's mix it up a little bit and go very early. And it worked, so he lost the position to Alice as well, I think, so yeah, it was all in my favor.
Well, man, a great run, but now you have to come from 7th place. How hard is it going to be getting through this field?
Almost impossible, I think, on this track, so we will see.
Well, man, hopefully you can keep it in one piece and point it the right way. Good luck.
Thank you very much, man.
Wessel Stevens does not sound confident about coming through the field. And that is definitely one way to slow the competition down. Saw Rudolph on top of the mountain smacking the wall. And pit road entry for race 2 can get a little bit tricky. But Rudolph Gunther, the only driver actually practicing. Everybody else making those final adjustments. Going into race 2, the top 7 will invert. That'll put Wessel Stevens starting back in 7th. Probably not the best place you want to be that first lap up the mountain. Although I do have to say, looking at everybody getting ready for race 2, as long as the Fords are toward the back, everybody should be fine. But depending on where those Fords start, going up the mountain the first time could be really sketchy. All right, folks, buckle up. The invert is ready, and here we go in race 2. Yes, Zach, it is your fault. You know better than to pick a Ford. All right, folks, buckle up. Here we go. Race 2. Rudolph Gunther and Sula McCall on the front row. Roman Berg, Adam Barker on the second. Yannick Gunther, Nick Sorensen on the third row. Wessel Stevens starts in 7th. Stuart Hare in 8th. Ellis Johnson, Mike Marshall round out the top 10. Zach Beige starting in 11th next to Riz Buckland in 12th. Harry Volsmere scheduled to start 13th. But based on race 1, we may not see Harry on the grid. No, we will not see Harry Volsmere on the grid. Drivers beginning to roll out. Now Wessel caught him napping on the start of race 1. Will Rudolph Gunther use the same tactic here in race 2? Rudolph can fire as soon as that pace car hits pit road, and he does! Pace car is in, Rudolph is down and away. He caught him napping, but not as much. And the green flag flies for race number 2. Rudolph could make up a lot of ground in the points in this one. Nick Sorensen currently back in 7th. He's already lost some ground. The first 3 quickly get single file. Yannick Gunther, Roman Berg battling as they turn up the mountain. Wessel already up into 6th, looking for 5th. Side by side with the Mustang coming up the mountain. That's a gutsy move. And Wessel makes it stick up into 5th. Rudolph out front, Suleiman caught in 2nd, and Suleiman may have been caught napping, but he has made up for a lot of it, as has Adam Barker in 3rd. Wessel now up into 4th. Remember, after race 1, he did not expect to get through the field easily, if at all. Already picking up several spots, has him up into 4th and closing on Barker. Rudolph leads him down toward the final turn. Looks like he is going to lead lap 1. The question is, will he be able to hold on to it? Nick Sorensen now in 6th. Will Yannick make it extra hard, trying to help his dad with the points? Yannick currently in 5th, right in front of Nick. Ellis back in 7th, Roman Berg in 8th, Stuart Hare in 9th, Riz Buckland in 10th, Zach Bache in 11th, and Mike Marshall in 12th. And so far, race 2 has been pretty much uneventful. Definitely not what we expected with the invert. Rudolph is starting to put a gap on the 3 cars right behind him. Suleiman Collin, Adam Barker, now Wessel Stevens has caught Barker. Oh, Suleiman has a problem. Barker checks up, and look at Wessel go. Wessel Stevens now takes 3rd. That was a gutsy pass down the mountain. Wessel already up to Suleiman's bumper. He's going to try and make the move to the inside. Wessel has it. Wow, what a run by Wessel, already to 2nd. As a bit of a battle behind, Adam Barker battling with Suleiman for third. Hey, good morning, Chris. Wessel has had a problem. He has taken it to pit road, and wow. There's Wessel after charging all the way to second out of the final turn. What a hit and a close call for everybody. And a moment later, Zach Bache has a problem into turn one. On the brakes into one, snaps around Riz. Man, great wreck avoidance by Riz. Well, that just shook up the whole dang race. Wessel in charge from 7th up to 2nd place, and Wessel is officially out of the race. Rudolph Gunther still out front. He has a 2.6 second lead. Points leader Nick Sorensen back in 6th. And Chris, I could ask the same thing of you, buddy. Zach Bache has had a problem. There's Zach getting ready to head back down the mountain. Oh, overshoots into that rumble strip. And a Mustang sideways on top of the mountain that had to worry everybody. He quickly gets it out of the way and tows it in. Rudolph continues to lead and extend that gap over Adam Barker. Suleiman Khan still holding on to third. Well, update from Zach. He now hates Mustangs and is never going to drive one again. Had he listened to me over the last 4 years we've known each other, he wouldn't have done it to begin with. Zach, you have learned your lesson. Listen to the old guy. He knows what he's talking about. Rudolph's lead is starting to shrink as Adam Barker and Hello Kitty are on the move. Now down to 2 seconds. Suleiman Cohen in third. Now has Ellis all over his bumper in fourth, with Yannick Gunther and Nick Sorensen closing in. Roman Berg also along with the way. Stuart Hare back in 8th. Riz Buckland now up into 9th. Mike Marshall in 10th. Adam Barker just set the fastest lap, 2:03.35, as he continues to close on the leader. Air temp has actually come down a little bit, as has the track temperature, surprisingly, but does seem like lap times here in race 2 maybe a little slower. Drivers being a little bit more conservative here in the early going. Sorensen gained 7 points in the championship in race 1. But as they run now, Rudolph would gain 19. And would definitely close the points gap they came into the morning with. Nick came into the morning with a 72-point lead. If Rudolph pulls off the win, that gap will drop to about 60 points with 2 races left to go. Nick Sorensen still sits back in 6th, right on Yannick's back bumper. Meanwhile, Adam Barker in 2nd is closing the gap on the leader, now just 1.1 seconds behind Rudolph. Roman Berg has caught up to Nick Sorensen as Riz Buckland is in. This is a bit early for the fuel stop, but he might be able to go the distance from here. Would definitely be a gutsy move. We'll see what he does. Barker now just half a second out of the lead. Riz Buckland on his way out. Does look like it was fuel only on that stop. Will it be enough to go the distance? Oh, it turns out Riz had some wheel damage. Likely kissed the wall coming up the mountain. And we have got a battle for the lead. Barker has caught Rudolph Gunther. Rudolph goes through the grass a little bit. And Rudolph did pick up a slowdown there. Can he defend and burn off the time? Going up or down the mountain, it would be a lot easier here on the straight. He does clear it before getting into turn 1. But Ellis Johnson just set the fastest lap, and he is closing on the top 2. Nothing's happened to Nick yet. He just sits behind Yannick. Hasn't been able to make a move. Ellis Johnson in 3rd continues to be the fastest car on track at the moment. And Ellis has just about caught the top 2. And Barker is making the move for the lead, but Ellis is closing in quickly behind. Adam takes it on the straightaway, but now Ellis has caught him. And as Zach pointed out, this is an unforgiving track, as we have seen and several drivers have struggled this morning. Suleiman Khan back and forth, about 3.5 seconds back in closing. Yannick Gunther now at 5th, Nick Sorensen in 6th. Roman back in 7th, Stuart Heron 8th, Mike Marshall in 9th, Riz Buckland in 10th. And Barker out front as they head up the mountain trying to break away. Sorensen still trying to get past Yannick, hasn't been able to move, but Rudolph slipping to second. Definitely helps the points leader. And now that Ellis is all over Rudolph's bumper, Ellis is very, very fast here. Last time we were here, he pulled off the win in the Lambo. Looking to do it again this morning. Actually, kind of a surprise to not see Ellis in the Lambo here today. And if you want to see how unforgiving this track really is, let's hop on board with the points leader, Nick Sorensen. Across the start-finish line, down into turn 1. As we have seen multiple times this morning, turn 1 can bite you in a blink of an eye. And Sorensen's going to try and make the move on Yannick. Down the straightaway as they get ready to turn and head up the mountain. Short little bit of straight into that blind left-hand turn. And this is where if things go wrong, the track clogs up very quickly. Can go too wide as you come up and down the mountain, but man, it is not advised. Those walls will reach out and grab you. At the top of the mountain now sets his sights on heading back down. Suleiman Khan just ahead. Just no time to react and nowhere to make a mistake. Any mistake on the mountain will put you into the wall. He clears. Comes out onto the backstretch. Turns his wiper on for some reason. Looks like just trying to clear his window. And back on the power and toward that final turn. And Nick Sorensen just did that lap in 2 minutes, 4.09 seconds. And Adam Barker has taken the lead. Ellis now up to second. Rudolph back into fourth, or third rather. And points leader Nick Sorensen closing that gap now in fifth. the fastest lap, 202.49. It's worth noting he's the first driver in race 2 to hit under 203. And he is closing quickly on Adam Barker, now just 1.4 seconds back. Hey, good morning, Wawa. Wessel had a problem out of the final turn. Definitely a heartbreaking moment for Wessel. He had raced his way to second place, but on the power out of that final turn, ended up spinning in a hard hit to the inside wall. And the points leader is just coming in. Sorensen gives up 5th. He is on pit road. Is he doing his stop early? Riz Buckland also back on pit road. Adams' lead is stabilized at about 1.7 seconds. Last time by, he broke the 203 mark, came in at 202.97. Ellis a couple tenths of a second slower on that last lap. Rudolph Gunther back in 3rd, Suleiman in 4th, Yannick now in 5th. Nick Sorensen is back out on track, as is Riz Buckland. And Ellis is just dominating the mountain this morning. At the bottom, he had a 1.7 second gap to the leader. Now on the backstretch, 1.3 seconds behind the leader. Saw Sorensen make this pit stop early. We'll see if it pays off. He is now back in 8th place and a lot of ground to make up. And it seems Barker is winning the race on the straightaways, but Ellis makes up all the ground on the mountain. The gap was 1.7 seconds again at the bottom of the mountain. As they head back down the mountain, Ellis now just 1.4 seconds back. That Porsche definitely getting up and down the mountain better than the Audi, but the Audi seems to have him beat on the straights. Ellis now just 1.1 seconds behind Adam. Rudolph Gunther sits in third, about 4.9 seconds back. Suleiman Khan another 3.6 seconds behind him. Yannick about 3.25 seconds behind Suleiman. Roman 2 seconds behind Yannick in closing. Stewart back in 7th, Sorensen in 8th after his stop. Mike Marshall in 9th, Riz Bunklin in 10th. Zach Bates, Wessel Stevens, and Harry Volsmere out. Yannick is in. This is unusual to see these stops so early. And again, right at the halfway point where we usually see these guys try and stretch the fuel as far as possible. And Ellis now just half a second behind the leader. Nick Sorensen starting to crank it up now as well. After completing his stop, he was over 20 seconds behind Stewart. Now just 18 seconds back and closing quickly. And Ellis is definitely in Adam Barker's slipstream now. Adam has been able to beat him on the straight so far, but that does not appear that will continue. Rudolph Gunther in third, now has Suleiman calling 3 seconds back, and Suleiman is closing in quickly. Last time by, Suleiman over half a second, a lap faster than Rudolph. Adam continues to lead, but Ellis right behind. Nick Sorensen continuing to monster his way forward. Last time by, Sorensen was the fastest car on track. Stuart Hare currently in 6th, Roman in 5th. Roman had been gaining ground on Suleiman earlier on, but has lost a lot of ground. Rudolph Gunther in 3rd, now almost 8 seconds behind Ellis. And Rudolph Gunther is on pit road for his stop. Seeing quite a few different pit strategies playing out this morning. Sorensen now moving back up into 6th. 14.5 seconds behind Stewart. The top 5 have not completed their pit stops yet. Stillman Collin now in 3rd, Roman in 4th, Stewart in 5th. And it does look like everybody is doing fuel only on their stops this morning. So this may come down to who is the most efficient. Looked like Adam tried to fake to pit road, but Ellis came in. And Suleiman Khan also coming in. Roman Berg coming in at 4th. And Stuart Hare is coming in 5th. That'll leave only Adam Barker that needs to stop. Ellis is on his way out as Sorensen comes through the final turn. And Nick Sorensen jumps back up into 3rd. Ellis still holding on to 2nd, Barker out front. Will we see Adam in this time, or will he stretch the fuel window? Looked like that Audi gotten a little slidey on the brakes coming down the mountain. Mike Marshall back in 7th also has not completed his stop. The only other driver that has not been in yet. And Adam Barker is going to give up the lead. He is coming in. The question now is, will Ellis be able to take the lead here? Based on lap times and pit stop times, it's definitely going to be close. But Ellis has a big opportunity here. Barker is in his pit stall, fueling up. Ellis through the final turn. And Barker is rolling. Ellis is on the front stretch. It's going to be close. And Barker comes out with the lead. But Ellis only 1.5 seconds behind. Mike Marshall is also coming in to complete the cycle of stops. Ellis has been faster on the mountain all morning long. And once again, he is inching closer. But Nick Sorensen, 5.8 seconds back. He is closing on both of them. Question is, with 15 minutes left to go, does Sorensen have enough time to get there? Ellis just 1.1 seconds behind Adam. And Nick less than 5.5 seconds behind both of them. Nick at the moment, the fastest. Suleiman Collin back and forth now as Yannick Gunther on his bumper, with Roman only about 2.2 seconds behind. Rudolph Gunther back in 7th, Stuart Heron 8th, Mike Marshall in 9th. Adams' lead holds at about 1.1 seconds, and Sorensen less than 5 seconds behind. Ellis has had a problem on top of the mountain. And another problem coming down the mountain. He's got it recovered, but has dropped to 3rd. Oh, he continues to have problems, hard into the wall. Let's take a look at that series of events. All right, there's Ellis reeling in. Adam Barker at the top of the mountain, a little too wide, hits the rumble strips wrong. Bounces it off the wall just a little bit, does get it stopped, but Sorensen slips by. He gets it turned and pointed down the mountain again. But on the power, looks like the damage was too much and he couldn't gather it up. Spins it around and back into the fence and took it to pit road. Ellis that had one of the biggest charges of the morning, that has ended. Looks like Ellis had problems every time it went around the corner. He could feel it sliding. Now the question is, can Sorensen close in to get the win? Nick is 5.25 seconds behind Adam with just over 10 minutes to go. A bumpy end for Ellis after one heck of an amazing charge. Suleiman Khan now in third as Yannick in fourth on his bumper. Roman Berg in fifth has just about caught both of them. So we may get a battle for the win before this is over, but we're definitely going to have a battle to settle third, fourth, and fifth. Nick Sorensen, the points leader, currently in second. Second in points, Rudolph Gunther back in sixth. That has definitely turned the championship points around again this morning. Nick likely to extend that lead. That means there is a very real possibility that Sorensen could lock up the title next week at the Nürburgring Grand Prix. Adam's lead continuing to shrink, now 4.7 seconds. Gunther now up into third, Suleiman back into fourth. Roman Berg right there with them in fifth. Jason, I can't tell you, there's one or two times we've seen that Audi go faster, but not many. Adam is definitely putting it down. But Nick is consistently inching closer, still 4.5 seconds back though. And with 7.5 minutes to go, he's gonna need some help to get there. Nick has made up a lot of time on the mountain. This time, he's now less than 3.5 seconds behind. Did look like Adam was sliding a little bit coming down the mountain. Yannick Gunther in third, starting to pull a gap on Suleiman Khan in fourth. Roman Berg right on Suleiman's bumper. Adam continues to lead, but wow. Nick Sorensen just put down the fastest lap so far, 2:02.46. And is now just 3.1 seconds behind Adam Barker. And folks, don't forget this race will be on YouTube later tonight at 4K. And a new YouTube short schedule is coming. 2.1 seconds behind Adam at the moment. Likely to see this one go 2 more laps. Will Nick have enough time to get there? He's definitely faster on the mountain, now just 3 seconds back. Hey, good morning, Kenny. How are you, buddy? The gap holds at 3 1/4 seconds at the moment. Doing pretty good, bud. Yannick Gunther in third, about 21 seconds back. Suleiman and Roman still very, very close, 4th and 5th. Rudolph Gunther 3.5 seconds behind him in 6th, but Rudolph is closing. Stuart Hare currently in 7th, Mike Marshall in 8th. And a lot of attrition at Bathurst this morning. Definitely pushing it, coming down the mountain, trying to maintain that 3.4 second gap. Looks like Nick has kind of stabilized that gap. Doesn't seem to be able to gain as much ground. Suleiman calling for, still holding Roman off. He's actually pulled about a 1.5 second gap on him. Rudolph Gunther, meanwhile, 1.5 seconds behind Roman in closing. And Adam gets the white flag one more time around. He's got a 3.5 second lead on Nick Sorensen at the moment. Adam just needs to stay out of the wall on this lap. And even finishing in second, Sorensen will extend his lead even further. As they run now, Nick Sorensen's lead would extend 21 points over Rudolph Gunther going into Nürburgring next week. Nick has picked the pace up yet again, now less than 3 seconds behind, but likely going to be too late. Adam heads through the kink into the final turns. And Adam will do it. He'll hold off Sorensen. Adam Barker back in victory lane in race 2 at Mount Panorama. Nick Sorensen bringing it home in second. Yannick Gunther finishes third. And let's see if we can get a word with our top 3, starting with Yannick. Yannick, congratulations, another podium.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Yeah. Keeping it on the track really seems to work around here.
It really, really does make a difference keeping it on the track, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't actually that fast, but yeah, if everybody else crashes, we just don't, and that works.
Yeah, that seems to work really well. Keeping it out of the wall, keeping it on the track, those are about the only 2 things you got to do here. It doesn't matter how fast you go.
Exactly, yeah, and we did that today, so I'm happy.
Well, man, great job, and congratulations keeping it out of the walls, buddy.
Thank you, Doug, thank you.
Nick Sorensen coming home in second. Nick, you had one heck of a late race charge. Couldn't get it done, but still an awesome late race charge and a huge points day.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Second place. I was trying to charge there at the end, trying to go as fast as I could to catch up with Adam, and Ellis there for a little while, but he had that incident where he spun out. But yeah, just a great overall day. Second place in each race, maintaining first place there.
Now, it does appear going into next week's race, you could very well lock up the championship at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, I mean, let's just same mentality as every week. Try and keep it safe and finish both races, and then hope for a decent result.
Well, man, great job and a great finish. Congratulations.
All right, thanks.
It's been a bit since Hello Kitty has been in victory lane, but Barker does it today. Adam, you got Hello Kitty back in victory lane. It has been a bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. Brought the Audi out here because we were going to be running the Doug Burns Ford, but he was too cheap to ship it out to America, so we had to go with the Audi. And it was it was a good choice. It was nice and stable. Got all the kinks out in the first race, and then just managing fuel. The Audi really likes going through fuel, so just making sure that wasn't using too much, hitting a delta and getting the win.
It did look like those final couple laps, about the last 4 or 5, you were really starting to slide a bit coming down the mountain.
Yeah, feeling a little bit of the pressure from Nick coming so quick. So last maybe like 10 laps or so was really on full bananas there, just trying to not give him as much time and making a few mistakes, trying to push it down the mountain. But yeah, good race by Nick. He was really on it. Unfortunately for me, he got a bit caught up at the start of the race. So we had a great race.
Well, man, congratulations! Great to see you back in victory lane.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to take the W.
Adam Barker back in victory lane. Folks, don't forget, tonight, 9:30 Eastern, the SMRX Series is back on track and a lot more racing and streaming to come this week. We will see you all soon. Hope everyone had as much fun as we did. We'll see you tonight. Have a good one, everybody.